staying on the farm if they're small, if they're mid-sized, or if they're large. We want greater resilience in our food system. We learned during the pandemic that as efficient as our system was, sometimes efficiency can get disrupted, and disrupted in a very significant and serious way. So this creates a more resilient food system. This creates more opportunity for farmers and also more job opportunities in rural places. And I think it's beginning to work. For the first time in a number of years, we saw out-migration from rural to urban and suburban America stop. And we actually had net migration into rural America last year for the first time in a while. We saw a reduction in persistently poor counties in the country. A number of counties that historically have had poverty rates in excess of 20% saw a significant reduction in those rates. So it's beginning to work in that sense. But here's why it's also important to the country. It's not just the value system that's at play here. It's not just about small and mid-sized producers, or for that matter, economic opportunity in small towns. It's the ability of moms and dads and grandparents to be able to say to their children and grandchildren, you don't have to leave. You can stay, you can come back. You can have economic opportunity, you can change the world. You can make a fundamental difference. You can restructure the economy of the country. And it probably also means that the number of people that we draw from rural America for our military will continue to be available. Because our military disproportionately comes from rural places. In other words, it's 13% of America's population on any given day. There are 2 to maybe as much as 3 times that number in the military coming from those small towns. So if you continue to shrink opportunity, you're going to continue to shrink the pool of those folks who are brave enough and willing enough to serve us in a military capacity. So the question I think that we have to ask ourselves is, are we okay with get bigger, get out? Are we okay with losing prime farmland? Are we okay with the concentration of farm income? And if we're not, are we okay with trying something that gives us and gives families an opportunity to say, we can make it? So that's what this is about. That's why it's important. That's why it's important for South Carolina State University to be engaged and involved. That's why it's important for us to have a farm bill that continues to support programs like this. Why it's important for us to have a budget that allows us to staff the programs that are important to this program. Why it's important not to disrupt the funding and resources from the Inflation Reduction Act that will help further this program. And why it's important, I think, for America generally and fully and completely, whether they live in rural America or not, to be concerned about this and to make sure that we offer true opportunity. Because this is what it looks like when you talk about bottom up and middle out. So that's what we've been up to. I'm looking forward now to moving the whiteboard away. And we've obviously got a very large panel that we're going to hear